Blazers preseason is done. Finally finished. We got real basketball coming up soon. To be honest with you, I didn't watch a single minute of the preseason. So I'm going to leave the discussion. I'm going to let you guys lead the discussion for the most part. Colton, what did you think of the preseason? What were your main takeaways?
I just want to say it was kind of a weird preseason only because the Blazers played 4 games and one was against an opponent that's not an NBA level opponent. One was a team that was about their skill level, which is the Jazz. And then they played 2 games against the Suns, which the Suns could be the best, one of the best teams in the league, or the best team in the league, the hardest team to stop. And they didn't have their full rotation available in most of those games and most of those minutes. So while, this isn't going to be a championship year, I think people definitely online are getting a little bit they don't think it's going to be a good season, and I can see why. But I think that the preseason was kind of hard. It's hard to take a read on that because the Phoenix Suns are a really good basketball team, and they're probably going to have the best offense in the league. And so, yes, the defense looked bad, and it will be bad, but let's slow the roll and let's wait and see what the actual roster looks on the first game of the season.
Yeah, I mean, my main takeaway is that the Suns look like they might be a problem. I feel like we spent most of our preseason watching the Suns play and figure stuff out and start to figure out how Nurk's going to work in that offense. And I thought that they looked pretty good, and they look like they got a lot of depth out of these deals, and they look like they might have got a piece in Nurk that they've needed for a long time. So I think that the trade worked out really well for them. And in saying that, I don't say that to mean that we got the bad end of the trade. I think that it was a trade that needed to happen potentially for both teams. I think Ayton looks like he could be a really good fit in Portland, playing with the younger guys, but they needed someone down there who doesn't need a whole lot of points, doesn't need a whole lot of offensive touches or time with the ball, but can still facilitate and make passes. They looked good. On our side, I thought honestly one of the guys who's shown the brightest for me was Ant, and I thought he looked like he's going to probably take on a bulk of the scoring this year as Scoot kind of tries to find his place in the league, and we figure out what the rotation looks like at the 3. I think Anthony's gonna score a lot of points this year. We know he has the ability to, and it looks like he's gonna step into that role.
He shot 60% during the preseason. I got the stats up right now.
61% from 3.
That's bananas. He almost shot as good from 3 as he did from the free throw line. Sounds like Mitchell Robinson or something. Yeah, had 19.3 points per game. Yeah, he looked like a stud out there. What was that one game? Was 11 for 15?
Yeah, I think he was 11 for 14. I think he missed 3 shots.
Pretty efficient.
He's a sniper.
Yeah, I thought we could go over him. I mean, we can take a look at the stats, especially Kirby, but as far as like winners and losers of the Blazers preseason goes, but I just wanted to say this. So in the game against the Phoenix Suns that was at home when Nurkic played, I thought it was hilarious because Phoenix Suns are understandably excited about their team and excited about Nurkic and down on Ayton. So one of the things I was noticing, Nurkic is a good fit in that role game because the court's going to be spread open. But Nurkic had a very efficient game. He was making every off-balance flailing layup that we've seen him miss, and he was just flipping it up there, and it was hitting the top of the backboard and dropping in on an and one. Those shots are not going to fall like that in the regular season unless he's wide open because of Durant and Beal, which he will probably have an easier time, but it was just hilarious. All the Suns fans were like, wow, Nurkic is so good. He's so amazing. And he does have his strengths, but those flip shots are not going to fall like that all season.
It sounds like those fans in Phoenix have a touch of Nurk fever.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
They do. They're excited to move on. I think both sides are excited to move on from that trade. And Ayton didn't play a ton of minutes in the preseason. He missed a couple of the games, and that's fine. The Blazers are going to have like 9 days in between to have like almost another training camp just to go over all of, the stuff that they need to go over.
Robert Williams didn't play, did he?
Williams didn't play. Brogdon didn't play the last 2 games. The last game against the Suns was literally first and second year players basically starting against a super team. That's why I'm saying you can't take full stock of it. So here's a good example. Scoot, he had some ups and downs in the preseason, but the game against the Suns, he was, rushing here and there, but he was still diming people for 3, but they were just missing. Chris Murray, I think, was 0 for 8 from 3, which that's a little concerning. Chris Murray was actually falling into one of my losers on the winners and losers side of the preseason. But if Scoot was kicking it out to Simons in the same way, or Jeremy Grant or Brogdon, he would have had 12 assists that game. I counted 7 assists that were kicked out for 3 from Scoot that were good passes that they didn't make. 7 in one game. So I think Scoot's assist numbers would look a little better if he was playing with the actual rotation players. I think that Scoot did have some lows and did have some turnovers here and there, but he's a 19-year-old, and you can tell he's going to be hard to stop once he fully understands the NBA game. So he was exciting to watch. Another winner I have on here.
A point on Scoot I want to make real quick before you move on.
Take over, yeah.
I do remember seeing a couple plays in a row against the Suns where they're picking on him on defense. They had a play where they swung it over to the weak side, and he was staying out on Eric Gordon, and it led to like a wide open layup. And then the very next play, they ran the same play. He decided to dive to the hoop to guard that layup. Eric Gordon got a wide open 3 and canned it. So I was thinking these are learning lessons for Scoot, and hopefully he'll learn these lessons now, and it'll translate pretty quickly during his rookie year.
Yeah, he has the body. He has the explosiveness, the lateral movement to be able to stay in front of guys. He has the strength. Somebody was trying to back him down one time, and he hung in there. I do think that'll come with time, and hopefully Chauncey's the guy to develop and help. Really quick before, Riley, you take over, is obviously we're going to package these guys together a lot. I just wanted to say Shaedon Sharpe looked really good actually this preseason. The first game there was kind of a little bit of, he didn't really do a lot, but he just didn't get a ton of opportunity in the flow of the offense. The last couple of games, he really shined. He was hitting from mid-range, driving to the rim, made some amazing passes, made some great reads. He had a no-look pass off the pick and roll that resulted in a layup for, I can't remember who it was to, maybe Chris Murray or something like that. But he had an amazing pass in that instance, but he also had multiple other instances where he made the right play. And not only that, he was scoring from all levels. He was playing within the flow of the offense. He looked really good. And so I'm excited to see what Shaedon brings this year. No matter if he's starting or not, I think he just needs to be involved.
I was about to ask, do you guys think that starting really makes a difference for him? Is it tougher for him to get in the flow of the offense when he's coming off the bench versus starting?
I mean, I think that's kind of an interesting question, and it's something that I felt when I was watching the game that it was taking him a long time to gain any confidence, and it kind of felt like he was floating around a little bit and trying to find his place, which is a little bit of what we saw last year as well, where it just kind of feels like doesn't have a whole lot. He has a lot of confidence, like in the interviews and stuff. He looks like a confident guy, but when he's on the floor, sometimes it looks like he's trying to find his spot a little bit too hard, and he's definitely still kind of in that zone right now too. So yeah, I mean, I definitely saw some moments that looked really good, but other times he still just looked really young and lost, and I hope that he's able to grow this year. The 3-point shooting was not good at all. And that was kind of the story across the board for the young Blazers.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the 3-point shooting wasn't good. I don't know. I don't agree fully with that with Shaedon. I thought the first game, I think, was probably his worst in the preseason. I think he looked very...
Did he Did he came off the bench in the first game and then he started the second game? What about the third and fourth?
He came off the bench in the third game, I believe, if I remember right. And then in the last game, he came off the bench as well because Tumani Camara started, which that's another guy that we got.
Lights, Camara action.
We got to talk about him next, obviously. But yeah, I think that Shaden, to answer your question, as long as he gets involved, he needs to play 32 minutes a game or more every night, whether that's off the bench or starting, and he needs to have opportunities to succeed and fail. You can't sit him in the corner the whole game and make him a 3-point decoy. Get him involved, get him touching the ball. Yeah, I know we've said that about Ayton as well. Get him involved, touching the ball, but Shaden definitely needs the development, whether it's starting or coming off the bench. I don't think it matters as much because I think coming off the bench, he'll play with Brogdon. Starting, he'll play with Scoot. Both those guys can play make. It's just a matter of giving him opportunity.
The reason I keep kind of harping on the starting thing is I do feel like it matters for him. For a young player like that, I get the feeling that he's going to succeed if he's going to have the best chance to succeed when he's starting, and bringing him off the bench and continuing to kind of be hesitant with them. I don't really like that. I want him starting. I want him, putting that confidence in him that he's going to be the franchise guy going forward. I think that's probably the best move.
Before we move on, let me just, while we're talking about winners and losers here, because we kind of touched on it just now, the 3-point shooting of the young Blazers team is the biggest loss that I saw through this preseason. Because outside of Anthony, it was pretty abysmal. I mean, Shaden shot like 19% from three on a small sample size. These are all small sample sizes, but still, he was taking like 5 a game and made 1 a game. That's not really that good. And then Chris Murray, he shot the third most threes on the team, and he shot 7%.
Oh,
7%. I can put the percentage on 2 hands. That's terrible. And I like, from more of a like visual perspective, we watched a couple of those shots go up. It did not look like professional level 3-point shooting. It was a complete mess. So I don't know if he's freaking broken now or what, but they got to get him back in the lab to work on that shot. If he's going to be taking, 3.5 threes a game, I know he's not going to get as many minutes most of the time, but we might see a lot of garbage time this year. It's very possible. Now, I don't really want him out there hurling up those friggin' trebuchet shots at a 7% clip. Can't deal with that for a whole season.
Yeah.
Camara is going to be taking his minutes there if those averages weigh out.
You're correct. And before we harp on every single young Blazer, Tumani Camara, what did he shoot for 3 on only 9 shots? 55%. He made 5 out of 9. He didn't get as many shots as Chris Murray did. But if we're talking about yin and yang and winners and losers, Tumani Camara stole Chris Murray's lunch money in this preseason. So Tumani Camara was a 2nd-round pick from the Suns, right? And Chris Murray was supposed to be this game-ready 23-year-old rookie. Well, guess who else is a 23-year-old rookie? Tumani Camara. Tumani Camara had numerous amazing defensive rotation plays where for a rookie, specifically amazing. He blocked Eubanks on a dunk attempt. He had a chase down block. He was hitting his threes. He looked like a real gem. He might be a Batum level gem, like how Batum was for the Blazers. I think Tumani Camara needs to get serious consideration for backup minutes right out the gate. I thought he outplayed Jabari Walker. I thought he definitely outplayed Chris Murray. And if you can play him at the 3, try starting him at the 3 and playing a bigger lineup.
What do you think about do you think he outplayed Thibault too, or do you think Thibault didn't really get enough go?
Thibault didn't really get to play it very much. Yeah, and I think Thibault played well too. I mean, he shot 4 of 9 from 3. Again, he didn't take very many threes, and it's not all about 3-point shooting, but for Thibault, it kind of is. Because Thibault, if he can shoot threes at a 40% clip, wow, that's
Yeah.
a pretty good player to have on the defensive end and spacing the floor. I don't know. I don't know if Toumani Camara should start right away. I think he should be how he played. If he practices like that, he should definitely earn minutes as the backup 4 or maybe even the backup wing right off the bat. He looked very, very impressive.
How big is he? What's his
6'8".
size?
He's
6'8".
Yeah,
Yeah, he looked.
I think he's got a 7-foot wingspan. He looked
He
like
looked
his
big.
body looks like okay. Just wait a second. His body looks like Pippen. He has the one armband. You think he's number 33.
Yeah.
He looks good out there. Obviously, I'm not saying he's Scottie Pippen, but he was impressive. Very
But
impressive.
he's Scottie Pippen, is what
He's
you're saying.
Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
The team, Scottie Pippen. He's all of it.
And Shaden's gonna be Michael Jordan. You
Wow.
heard it here first, folks. Yeah, the reason I brought up Thibault is with Brogdon in the rotation, we've talked Shaden's gonna be playing a lot of 3. That kind of splits the time between Shaden and Matisse at the 3 and leaves not a ton of minutes available after that. But if you got Camara at the 4, then he could be really competing with Jabari there for those minutes there as the backup 4.
Totally.
I also have some hope that some of what I was talking about with Shaden is just the style of play that you see in the preseason, you know. Hopefully, maybe he's just kind of at that level now where he's a little bit too good for preseason basketball, and he's, you know, trying to figure out how to like play sets while guys are just, you know, running like it's 3 p.m. at the Y. And you know, I hope that when we settle into some real basketball, and he's actually like the beneficiary of like play calls, you know, that starting caliber players are running. Maybe it'll work out better for him. I think Shaden has all the talent in the world. I just felt like, at least in this style of basketball, what I saw of him, he looked like he was trying to figure out where to I don't know what to do with my hands, you know. So I hope that it works out better for him going
It is
forward.
just tough in general watching preseason basketball. I feel the same way. Preseason, summer league, it's tough. I must not be, you know, a full all-in basketball nerd, as I sometimes say, because it's like painful to watch that brand of basketball being played for me. I much prefer when the stakes are higher, the professionals are on the floor, they're playing, you know, a full game's worth of minutes. The fourth quarters matter. It's tough to watch when they just play kind of loose, like you said, playing like 3 p.m. at the Y for a half, and then you got a bunch of you know, D League ring winners, and in the fourth quarter. Sorry, Gatorade. Don't cancel our sponsorship, please.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but there's still going to be games like that when they get run out of the gym.
Especially with the Blazers this year.
Yeah, but at least it's going to be young guys getting minutes, developing, that are part of the future. You're always going to want to tune in when Scoot's in the game. You're always going to want to tune in when Shaden's in the game. I still don't really fully agree with your Shaden assessment, Riley. There were some moments where he didn't look fully engaged, but I thought, especially the last 2 games, he played really well with the opportunities he had. I think what's really dragging down his shooting percentages, obviously the 3-point shooting, but the first game, I think he was like 5 of 15. But other than that, he played well, I think. One thing that's a giant loser in this preseason, and it makes me want to gouge my eyes out every time I see this, and I've seen it, and we saw it last year. Chauncey Billups' horrible zone defense scheme. It is awful. I don't know if he coaches it wrong, the players don't run it right, or if it's just a terrible scheme, but it is bad. It's one pass away from getting shattered into pieces every time. It's like you got a guy on the wing passing it to a guy in the corner, one player away, and that's somehow broken and there's nobody on the guy. What's the point of playing a zone if you're not confusing the offense at all? I think the zone needs to be scrapped. I think Chauncey needs to be ashamed of thinking that can work in the NBA. I've seen zone work in the NBA, but Chauncey Billups needs to wake up and realize that this ain't it.
Yeah,
bad.
when I saw the Blazers lose in a game where the other team scored like 138, it's like, I know it's preseason, but that's not what we want to see. I mean, the whole idea of bringing Chauncey in was supposed to be that he was going to be more defensive minded. I think I'd take Stott's defense over this. I mean, it was pretty embarrassing to watch as the defense just collapsed on any move whatsoever. It was like you said, it could just be a pass to the corner. It might be a dribble drive. That seemed to be enough to break our defense in half. So yeah, no, it was not a good defensive preseason at all. And I really hope that we try, just playing like NBA basketball for a little bit as we start this season, because that's not what we did in the preseason on defense
Hard,
or offense, honestly.
hard to know if that is scheme or if it's just like you said, they're playing Y ball out there in the preseason. But like you mentioned last year, it was a bit of an issue too. So it's not a great sign. They do have, those the big guys that they brought in supposedly to funnel in there, be able to play that zone and funnel in those guys into Ayton and Williams that are hopefully a little bit better rim protectors than we had last year.
I mean, the whole team is young. It's a whole new team, and a lot of the preseason Nurkic, there I go. Ayton and Robert Williams didn't play. We played the Utah Jazz, who are big, big. They got Collins, Markkanen at the 3, and Kessler. We didn't have either Ayton or Robert Williams. So that's why I say it's kind of a weird preseason. It's kind of like an incomplete grade because the regular players didn't get a lot of minutes. We saw a lot of halves where we started Moses Brown. I mean, I hope he's not getting regular minutes.
Duop Reith, right? You got to start.
Reith, yeah, and we played the Suns twice, too. Like, yes, the defense was awful. It was. There was times where it just broke down out of thin air, but the Suns are really good. I wish we could have played a different team other than the Suns. Maybe, just any other team, just to see where we stack up with a regular non-super team. Because playing 2 of your 4 games against the Suns, it might skew what you're going to look like because they're that good.
That opportunity is coming up soon, though. October 25th at LA Clippers. It's going to be a rough start. Then they got Orlando on Friday, Philadelphia with a whining James Harden on Sunday, Toronto after that. So real basketball is right around the corner, and it will be fun to see them get real minutes and implement those schemes and see if the actual players that are going to be on the floor can implement them.
Do you guys think James Harden's going to wear the fat suit to start this year to try to get traded?
Who knows? That's an interesting situation, and it's kind of funny how Blazers had to deal with it all summer with Dame, and now look who's got to deal with it. Our favorite Daryl Morey, who overvalues all of his players, but it is working.
He didn't show up to practice, I guess I heard.
Yeah.
I can't really imagine what Philadelphia is going to do in that situation. Like,
fine him.
First of all, what team is going to want James Harden? I can't really imagine a scenario in which a team that's rebuilding or contending wants James Harden. And what are the Sixers going to be able to get back for him that's going to make their team, convince Embiid to stay? They're in a tough spot, kind of like the Blazers have been for the last few years. They have an all-world player and just really no one around him and no path forward to getting any better.
Very glad that that's not what we're faced with going into the beginning of this season. I would rather suck and be shooting 7% from 3 than have to deal with a superstar that doesn't want to be
one
here.
pass zone breaker defense.
Well, so I think it would be interesting if Miami traded for James Harden. I think it actually could work out. Spo could Pat Riley maybe rein him in. Yeah, who knows?
They're gonna take that. They're gonna take that crap Tyler Hero package that they're
that
trying
would
to
be funny.
on the Blazers all year.
That would be funny if they had to pay more for Harden than they tried to pay for Dame, even though Harden's way worse. But I think that he could, the culture. They probably don't want to take him into their culture because he's traded. He's done this from 3 teams. Three.
Did you guys hear? Did you guys hear that story Stephen A. Smith was telling about the Rockets and Ime Udoka brought in Harden to offer him a max deal, and Harden came in talking about how he wanted to be the scoring champ again and wanted to go back to the glory days of his run in Houston. And they were like, bro, that is not what we want from you. We want you to be like the veteran, like the playmaker. And he literally talked himself out of a max deal by the time he left. They took it off the table. That is Harden to a T.
Classic. Yeah, I mean, Jimmy Butler would just like rip his heart out, within a couple of weeks. That would not be a good fit at all. Such completely different personalities. And yeah, no, he would not be a good fit in Miami, I don't think. And I also don't think that Miami Tyler Hero package is really doing much to put Philly over the top either.
Yeah, man. How are they going to get better? Like, I think Embiid is gone here in the next couple of seasons. I really don't see a path forward for them being able to retain his services.
Yep, they're going to have to build around Tyrese Maxey, who they also value very highly. And they could be set on a similar path for the Blazers. I think that New York is probably a team that's going to come calling for Embiid.
Oof.
New York has a lot of firsts, but and who knows how that'll look. But
him and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about the Jalen Brunson's dad being on the Knicks sways them to keep Jalen Brunson.
Oh man, that would be. Imagine how mad New York fans would be if they lose out on Embiid Mitchell combo because of Jalen Brunson's dad.
Have you guys been, not to change the subject, have you guys caught any of Chet Holmgren mania highlights?
He's looked good.
I saw his I heard about it because I can't watch Damian Lillard play basketball anymore, but I heard about the Chet Holmgren block.
Yeah, I saw it.
On Dame's step back.
It was easy.
So I'll take that.
Yeah,
he looks like he could be the real deal. All these guys, all these super tall superstars, potential superstars that have been drafted over the last few years, it all just comes down to health. And
Porzingis's babies.
Yeah. We got like 3 or 4 unicorns running around now, and it's just a matter of seeing which one steps in a hole and breaks its leg.
Well, that's what the Blazers need to do to add to the young core. Maybe not Victor Wembanyama level, but coming up this next draft, there seems to be a lot of taller players at the top of the lottery. So I think we're, in our prediction video that I'm sure will coming up right before the season starts, we'll predict where we think they're going to finish. But I think it's probably in their best interest to finish kind of low one more year, get one more blue chip prospect, and then you could have, your point guard, shooting guard, or small forward, and your forward and your center. Blazers have a bright future. And that's kind of how we contrast it with Embiid's situation. The Blazers were in the spot where Embiid could ask out with Dame asking out, and now they're hopefully on the OKC track where they have young, promising players, lots of picks in the future, and just upside. That's what we want to see. Upside this season.
Growth, maturity.
And a lot of losses.
A lot of missed threes. A lot of 7% from 3 games.
Yeah, we're gonna be starting Chris if he's gonna shoot 7%. That'll help us get that unicorn player we need.
Thank God.
Well, let's see some alley-oops instead.
He'll be the
style.
He'll be the Brandon Williams of this year. Thank God.
Can you not trigger me like that? I was not prepared for you to bring Brandon Williams.
Who would you rather lead the team, be the general of the team, Brandon Williams or CJ Ellaby? Colton?
Blevins.
Oh man, where's is he on the Bucks yet? Dame threw him to the Bucks yet?
They are the nepotism team. They've got Robin Lopez. They've got Giannis's brother. They need to add Blevins next.
They're just going to have 3 families. This is going to be the whole team.
I can't wait for the Eastern Conference Finals when Drew Holiday locks up Dame. He shoots 35% and they lose in 6.
Here's the difference. Dame, when he was on our team with the Pelicans, passed to a rolling Al-Farouq Aminu. Dame on the Bucks is passing to a rolling Giannis. So I don't think he's gonna have as bad of issues with
He's gonna get stuffed at the rim by Porzingis though. They got the unicorn down there, bro.
This is kind of devolved into meme talk, and I'm okay with it. So
that's what we do.
What other memes can you think of?
This is a preview of how the season's gonna look for us here at From the Logo.
We're gonna have a lot of time to fill.
a lot of watching crap, probably.
But that's
exciting
why
crap.
We're the optimistic group.
Yeah.
A lot of Portland media is negative about all this. Let's be the positive beacon of hope, light in the darkness.
I've been positive about this whole experience. I'm more excited about this season than I have been in many years, and it's because it's the future is completely unknown. I think we all kind of knew what we were going to get with the last, few seasons. In fact, maybe it was worse than we expected, but with this team, it's like really the sky's the limit. It could be within a couple of years, they could be making playoff runs. Who knows? We done? Checking out.
Let's leave it at that.
Thanks everyone for
Let's
watching.
leave it at playoff runs.
Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back, I'm sure, soon to, as Colton said, prediction video coming soon.
Who's going to be the new Kings, where I was so close to being right for nobody else saw coming?
Season starts in 1 week. Let's go. See you guys.
Bye.